What is so cultural about a mob of grown men pouncing on bulls?
You think the 364 days the bull is being poked with knives?
Jallikattu in the court of law has been for 15 years. There could not be any more debate on it.
These things will not be tolerated. We will go to any extent to fight our cause.
Huge people have gathered over here. They've gathered here in thousands. In fact, you can see across the road over there, that is the entire stretch of Marina Beach, which is just a sea of people over here.
The demand of the protesters here, particularly the students, is very clear that they want the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu to come here and address the gathering.
It is not just only at Jallikattu. This is about the prime future of Tamil and Tamil culture, Tamil heritage.
The people who are arrested in like Alanganallur, they have to be released immediately, and then we have to play the Jallikattu everywhere.
This shows that any threat to our culture, the students, the youth will be at the vanguard of the moment.
Our Modi's government is very much in favor of Jallikattu.
This is cruelty. This is not a himsa. And this is no way to treat the real live Nandis of Lord Shiva.
The city of Chennai literally coming to a standstill there, united, standing for the traditional bull taming sport Jallikattu, which has a history of over 2,500 years. Thousands of students, techies, actors, politicians, in fact even women and children all converging at the iconic Marina Beach in Chennai, demanding that the ban on the sport be lifted, which they say is a symbol of Tamil pride and culture. Protesters are now also seeking a ban on PETA, or People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, for its anti-Jallikattu stand. On the urban debate tonight, as we see overwhelming support, we are asking the question, have courts and activists got it wrong? And to understand and get answers for that big question and many questions we're going to have over the next hour or so, we have with us a very special panel. So let me take it upon me to introduce this very special panel that we have tonight. I'm going to start with Debi Goenka, Executive Trustee, Conservation Action Trust, joining us here in our Magicbricks NOW studios in Mumbai. We have Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, former CIC and RTA activist, joining us again here in our Mumbai studios. We also have Mr. Naveen Chomal, Senior Advocate of the Mumbai High Court and the Supreme Court, joining us from Mumbai. We have Mr. Sridhar Pabbisetty, CEO of Namma Bengaluru Foundation, joining us from Bengaluru. We also have C. Rajashekaran Advocate, joining us from our Chennai studios with the pro-Jallikattu stand. We have Mr. Rahul, Easwar, philosophy author and activist, joining us on Skype. We have Mr. G Jayasimha, lawyer and member of the Animal Welfare Board of India, joining us live from Delhi. We have Nikunj Sharma, Government Affairs Liaison, PETA India, joining us as well. I'm going to thank all of you gentlemen for taking time out to be with us here on the urban debate on Magicbricks Now. I'm going to kickstart this with a gentleman in our studios here in Mumbai. I'm going to kickstart this with Mr. Debi Goenka, Executive Trustee of Conservation Action Trust. Mr. Debi Goenka, I want to understand, you're talking about a 2,500-year-old tradition that the people of Tamil Nadu have been following. And even now, after a Supreme Court intervention, they've come out in hordes across the spectrum in the state of Tamil Nadu. Today it is Chennai, but the epicenter of the protest for Jallikattu was actually Madurai in Tamil Nadu. And now it's spilled over to the capital of the state of Tamil Nadu. Where do you stand on the matter?
As far as I'm concerned, nobody was around 2,500 years ago who's there today to tell us what exactly happened. My understanding of this tradition is that it has been a tradition for 2,500 years, but over the centuries it has been corrupted. It has now become different from what it was probably 2,500 years ago. And my understanding is that people loved their bulls, they worshipped them, they treated them as family members earlier. There was no question of torturing them earlier. There was no question of feeding them with alcohol. And there was no cruelty conducted or inflicted on these animals. But all this seems to have changed. And I don't think what is happening today in the name of traditional sport is what was happening 2,500 years ago. This is something that is actually not really, I would not consider this as something to be proud of. I would not say that this is the Tamil culture that I would respect and give due consideration to. And at the end of the day, this matter has been argued in court. There is a Supreme Court order which says you can't do it. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the law of the land until the law is changed.
It's very clear. The Supreme Court has laid down the law of the land. It's illegal to conduct the sport of Jallikattu. Let me bring in Mr. Shailesh Gandhi over here on this. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, we had Mr. Debi Goenka says that at the end of the day, the Supreme Court has told you not to. Then what are we talking about over here? Does the Supreme Court, first of all, needed to, did it need to even intervene in a matter like this?
My own feeling is that the Supreme Court of India should not be intervening in matters of this nature. The Supreme Court should lay down constitutional principles, legal principles, not go into details of this nature saying we do not want Jallikattu or Jallikattu is banned. That seems the wrong way of approaching this. Also, from what I have seen and heard everywhere, in Tamil Nadu, the bull is treated almost like God. He is revered. So therefore to say it's cruel on the bull seems a little fastidious. To the question, some people say, has the bull been asked whether he enjoys this or not? Then the question can be very widely looked at and say, is horse racing good? Shall we have no pet dogs? Do we go and ask the dogs whether they want to be with a master? Do we train horses? Why do we train horses? When you train a horse, he's certainly being whipped. On a race course, a horse is whipped in front of thousands of people and nobody's protesting on that. So I think this was an avoidable controversy and I do not think it's reasonable to say that this is cruelty and therefore impose the thoughts of somebody else on everyone. I think I wish Supreme Court had not entered into this area.
All right, Shailesh Gandhi, I think you're voicing the concern of a lot of people, legally when they have an issue with something like this. At the end of the day, it's the Supreme Court, but then so many Supreme Court orders we've seen it go in different ways. I'm going to bring in Mr. C. Rajashekaran into the debate over here. He joins us as an advocate who joins us live from our Chennai studios. Mr. Rajashekaran, as a Tamil lawyer in the state of Tamil Nadu, I want to understand, where do you stand on the matter? How do you view this?
Krishna Kumar, see, I am an advocate. That's all. There is no Tamil lawyer, Telugu lawyer, and Hindi lawyer. I'm sorry, you have wrongly
introduced me. Since we are discussing the matter of Tamil pride over here, since the debate is on Tamil pride, I want to understand, because a lot of people are asking the question: how can the Tamil people see this as a symbol of their identity?
See, first I was there in the amidst the protesters, along with the college students, the women folk, girls, children, homemakers, and all kinds of people were there. They were voluntarily present there and they were giving their heart and soul in the protest. They were only making a valid point by saying it is our tradition, it is our culture, it is in our blood. We had inherited this Jallikattu for so many thousands of years, and we cannot just leave it because some people sitting in the North India who don't want Jallikattu, because nobody who is involved in this issue, who is protesting, who is agitating against this Jallikattu, they don't understand the Tamil Nadu and the Tamil culture.
Exactly, Mr. Rajashekaran. Why I started off by asking you, as to you are a Tamil lawyer who understands law and you're a Tamil person. And that is the reason why I started off by asking this question to you. As a person of Tamil heritage, why do you support this? The argument against it is that this is cruelty to animals. If this sport has been done for so many hundred years, so many things have changed in the 2,500 years. None of us here sitting in this debate were there present in 2,500 years ago. Maybe the morality of that time allowed a sport like this to happen. But in the morality of the days in the times that we live in, this sport is seemingly barbaric.
See, Krishna Kumar, you are very wrong. Each and every household in Tamil Nadu, in fact, when I was a small child, my father was a lawyer. We had lot of cows in our house, native breeds, and we used to get milk from our own cows. So, see, we just treat it as our own child of the family. Likewise, see, I was living in Velo. So, you just imagine the people in the village down south, I'm telling the real village environment, and they used to worship the cow, as somebody told on the panel, that they worship the cow. They just feed it with like their own child, own children in the family. They first feed them and then only they have the food. That is the, the real heart and soul towards a cow, bull, ox, whatever they own. They don't treat it as an animal. That is the point. That is the passion. That is the love. That is the affection that they show. Everybody just bestow upon the animal, which they feel it is their own part and parcel of their family, like their own children of the family. So all this put together, when it comes to Jallikattu, they feel that their household sport. Every year they paint the bull, they wash it, they take care all the 364 days, they take care of the bull for this only day. The Pongal day, they want to celebrate the sport by allowing it to play in the fields as Jallikattu, the Vadivasal, Alaganallur, Palamedu, and now the Jallikattu was played. Now I come to understand, after all this creation of PETA and PFA, PETA going all over to the Supreme Court, of course with great respect to the Honorable Supreme Court, the people at helm, the government, central government then and the state government failed in putting the arguments in the right sense before the Honorable Court, and the court was misinformed and we didn't get a favorable order.
Yes,
That's
Mr.
what we
Rajashekaran.
all feel in the state of Tamil Nadu.
Yes, Mr. Rajashekaran, I'm going to bring that topic up. I'm going to bring it up in terms of the representation that Jallikattu got in the Supreme Court. There are serious errors over there. We will get to that. But I want to understand this, as you rightly pointed out from your end, for the pro-Jallikattu stand is that at the end of the day, there is no cruelty over here, that the bull is treated as a member of the family. It has been done that way for centuries right now, and why would you harm the bull? On that note, I'm going to take it to another panelist just to bring everybody into the debate. We have also Mr. Sridhar Pabbisetty and Mr. Rahul Easwar with us. Mr. Sridhar Pabbisetty of the Namma Bengaluru Foundation, as somebody from a neighboring state who understands Jallikattu, who's seen this happen in Tamil Nadu for the longest time, where do you stand on the matter, sir?
Well, it's very important that we understand where we are on this issue. It's stuck between lazy legislation and ineffective bureaucracy. And that's where, the judiciary has stepped in and tried to do something over there. So what we should understand is that traditions are important. What is there for a nation if the traditions are lost? Having said that, they need to be looked at some amount of constitutional framework. And if here is where the contention of, as Mr. Rajashekaran rightly said, the cattle are looked after as their family members, and if there are some instances where there is abuse of the bull, as was shown in various videos as well, of the ox being poked with sharp weapons, or tails being bitten off, or liquor being fed to them, there has to be a balance. So we can't throw the baby with the bath water. There has to be right regulation, and tradition has to be balanced. Having said that, today we have a Supreme Court judgment. There has to be remedial measures, and which has to be hopefully steadfastly pursued by state and central elected bodies in framing the right regulations and ensuring the administration does it. So we can't have a lawless situation today. So if the aspirations of Tamil people, as been expressed by other panelists, is to have peaceful and loving celebration of the tradition, so be it. But we need to make sure that the enabling atmosphere is built around it. As it seems today, the judiciary has spoken.
Fair enough. Mr. Pabbisetty, I think the point is very well taken.
And I think we have to live with it.
Yeah, the point is very well taken. This is not about banning, but about better regulation, more sensible regulation. That is the need of the hour. All right, I'm going to, Rahul Easwar, please hold on, because I'm going to bring in Mr. Nikunj Sharma, Government Affairs Liaison at PETA India. Mr. Nikunj Sharma, we've had panelists over here, talk to us on both sides of the argument, and even those who are not from Tamil Nadu, who stand in the middle, technically say that the Supreme Court didn't need to intervene in this matter in the first place, and even if it did, the ban was completely uncalled for. There needs to be better regulation is the need of the hour. I want to understand, what is your take?
See, the Supreme Court of India, before banning Jallikattu was being played for, a good 6 years under regulation. And until 2014, when the Supreme Court finally banned it, Jallikattu was being played with certain so-called strict regulations, and during those regulation time, the Animal Welfare Board of India held certain inspections in which they found that bulls were deliberately disoriented by making them drink alcohol. They were poked, they were sticked, they were jabbed, just to make them run. And you see, the important part about the Supreme Court of India's judgment is where the Supreme Court of India categorically said that cruelty is inherent in these games, which means you cannot take cruelty out of these games and play. For a very simple reason that bulls are not anatomically designed and their bodies are not anatomically designed to run. Also, bull is a prey animal. They do not run breakneck speed of their own wish. In order to make them run, you have to instill fear in them. And to instill fear in them, you have to twist their tail, you have to bite their tail, you will have to poke them with sharp objects, you will have to disorient them by making them drink alcohol-like substances. So this whole argument that Jallikattu can be regulated
Mr.
cannot happen.
Rajashekaran, I will let you have your say. Let the panelists first express their opinion. Mr. Rajashekaran, I'm going to come back to you. We have some very important points to be made. I know you also have points to be made, but let the panelists have their say and we will come back to you. Please go ahead, Mr. Nikunj Sharma.
Yeah, so exactly. So this whole argument that Jallikattu should be played with certain regulations cannot happen because the Supreme Court of India, after regulating it for several years, then seeing that the regulation doesn't work and bulls are not anatomically designed, cruelty is inherent in these games, that is when the Supreme Court of India in 2014 banned Jallikattu, bull races and bullfights. And it's not just Jallikattu. The scope of the judgment expands to bull races and bullfights also. Bull races are popular in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Punjab and Haryana, whereas bullfights are popular in Goa. So it's not just Jallikattu. So this whole idea that is being spread that only Jallikattu or only the Tamil people have been targeted is wrong.
All right.
Supreme Court has targeted cruelty towards bulls, and that has reflected in the Supreme Court of India's judgment very clearly.
All right, Mr. Rajashekaran, I'm going to come back to you on that, but right now we also have Mr. Naveen Chomal, Senior Advocate at the Mumbai High Court and Supreme Court, joining us in our Magicbricks NOW studios. Mr. Naveen Chomal, I want to understand, as an advocate from here, from Mumbai, where do you stand on Jallikattu?
See, this entire controversy is nothing but a brainchild of some over-enthusiastic PETA activist and nothing else. And whatever the prima facie attractive arguments they are putting are of no substance. See, all over the country, in fact, many countries in the world, they have their traditional adventure sports. And bull taming has been a part of that old tradition. So you cannot just stop it only to satisfy the particular ambitions of certain people who want to dominate the entire society and take the credit for channelizing the views of different people. So ultimately, Supreme Court ought to have given a very deep thought to the whole issue and what will be the repercussions and why the entire tradition should be stopped. At the most, yes, you can regulate it, you can put certain restrictions where some people who are conducting the sports are not doing it in a very proper manner.
But there is no room to ban it. Exactly.
Yes, there's no need to ban it, and plus these PETA activities, they are basically betraying their own cause and they are losing the credibility because of all these things. They are totally silent over the killing of millions of cattle on Eid when they are killed by halal. That means they are killed very slowly and in a very torturous manner. So that time all the PETA activities are running for cover. They are totally silent.
All right, I'm going to quickly bring in Rahul Easwar as well. Rahul Easwar, are you taking off from where Mr. Naveen Chomal is leaving, or do you have a different viewpoint?
Absolutely no. Naveen ji has it spot on. I'm an Indian by nationality and a Dravida by region. We have a great Tamil civilizational value, and Jallikattu is at the core of Tamil civilizational value and identity. Please remember, bull is a part of our family. We concede that some part of, some mistakes might have been there in the past because these are poor farmers. They might, because of the lack of education and modern scientific understanding, they might have committed some mistakes in the past. But having said that, these people are capitalizing on those mistakes. Give us harshest of regulations, strictest of regulations. And this is a classic case of judicial overreach. I'm sorry to take names, but with all great respect, we consider Supreme Court judges next to gods. We consider them Protyaksha Devadam. But having said that, Justice Deepak Misra has gone overboard in Jallikattu case, in Elephants in Temples case, in Sabarimala case. Judicial overreach is a very serious issue that we have to take care. We accept all the regulations by Honorable Supreme Court, but there shouldn't be a total ban. You
Absolutely.
cannot entirely ban a state's culture and civilization.
All right.
And please remember, it's a war between a multi-billion-dollar funded multinational PETA versus poor Tamil farmers. It's time we pick our sides and fight for it.
Exactly, Rahul. I fully support your views.
Naveen, please hold on. I'm going to take this to Mr. Rajashekaran, who has been wanting to make a point for a while. Mr. Rajashekaran, as you can clearly see, even people who are not from Tamil Nadu, who are from North India, are also in agreement that the ban on Jallikattu is completely misplaced.
Yes.
See, it is only the understanding of Jallikattu, Krishna Kumar. It is only you apply your mind for any case, any issue, any sport. If you apply the mind, definitely any wise man will understand Jallikattu in the right sense. People who are lacking this will definitely not understand Jallikattu, because Jallikattu is Yeru Tazhuvudal. Yeru Tazhuvudal in Tamil means embracing the bull,
yes,
catching the hump, running over
there are three
it.
traditions in Tamil Nadu. One is Jallikattu, one is Manju Virattu, and the other is Yeru Tazhuvudal. There are three traditions in the state of Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, I'll tell you. See, this Manju Virattu, Yeru Tazhuvudal, Jallikattu, everything is one and the same. And it is only the name which has been given in a different areas. But as far as this Jallikattu is concerned, nobody hits the bull or pokes the bull or gives liquor to the bull. All this stuff is just concocted stories, fabricated stories by the vested interests sponsored from so many other corporates in the world and so many other groups which call themselves to be the savior of animals, and they are going to work against the cruelty being done. What is this sheer nonsense? Because the person who is breeding the bull gives his life
by
and
saying
soul.
that, I think you're questioning the intelligence of the Supreme Court of India.
I'm going to let PETA respond to this. Mr.
No. See, don't try to prove a point by twisting my sentence to that I'm speaking against the Supreme Court. Definitely not. As an obedient lawyer, as an obedient, disciplined Tamilian, and also a law-abiding citizen, I have the greatest respect to the Honorable Supreme Court for this reason. Supreme Court had ordered water from Kaveri, but the whole state and the people had their own wishes and sentiments. They didn't give us water. But we only went before the Honorable Supreme Court pleading again that please tell the government of Karnataka to give water. This is the mindset of a disciplined Tamilian. We are Tamizhargal endral oru nyayamanavaர்கள் என்று we have proved it. We are straightforward people. We don't just say that to prove a point with all these people that we will go and fight like morons. Definitely not. We are intelligent people. We have brains. We will not protest. We will only plead before the Supreme Court and say, see, this was wrongly done. Please review this petition. Please get back this order. Overturn this order.
The point is well heard.
Please don't try to twist my words.
Yes, the point is well heard. Mr. Rajashekaran, when he spoke in Tamil, he referred to me that as Tamilians, we just want justice, and Tamil people believe in justice, and in this particular case of Jallikattu, justice has not been done to the people of Tamil Nadu, and that is the point that Advocate Mr. Sri Rajashekaran has been making. I'm going to take this to Mr. Nikunj Sharma of PETA. Mr. Nikunj Sharma, you've been hearing all the arguments, be it from Mr. Rajashekaran or from other people. I want to understand, in a national organization like PETA, funded by the biggest of funders in the world, fights against it, how much of moral high ground can it claim in the first place?
Chal raha hai. See, any money that PETA gets is to help animals. That's one thing that I want to make clear. And I think the argument that's being spread that PETA is a multi-millionaire funded organization and PETA has so much money to pay to the lawyers, I would like to make that clear on your show that the lawyers that have fought Jallikattu case
lawyers are here not to do social service.
Let me complete.
Mr. Rajashekaran, please hold on to your thoughts.
Let me complete. Now let me complete, sir. There are lawyers who work for cause. There are lawyers in the Supreme Court who work for a cause.
Set of lawyers who
and we have had the lawyers in the Supreme Court of India which have worked for us on a pro bono basis just because they believe in the cause.
Mr. Chomal, please allow Mr. Nikunj Sharma to make his point. Everybody is getting a turn.
I can't hear you, but let me complete.
Mr. Nikunj Sharma, please go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, so the point I'm trying to make here is that this whole wrong notion that's being spread that PETA is a multi-millionaire funded organization and we spend crores in getting lawyers. So I just want to make it clear that the lawyers that we have and who have supported PETA in their fight in cases in Supreme Court and the High Courts of India, we have found lawyers which are very compassionate, who have believed in the cause, who have seen that there is merit in the case on the basis of facts, and who have worked for us on a pro bono basis. Or at a very minimum cost that they have taken from us. This big lawyers who would have ideally normally charged a bomb for cases, but we have had merits in the case. And also the other thing that I want to bring in here is that why is this whole fight being made to show like it's PETA versus Jallikattu? There are several other parties in the case. The Animal Welfare Board of India, which is the advisory body of the Ministry of Environment and Forest, which was there. Inspections were done by the Animal Welfare Board of India.
Nikunj Sharma, the Animal Welfare Body.
And the report was submitted. The Supreme Court deliberated on this issue.
Fair enough. I'm going to bring in somebody because we have Mr. G Jayasimha, lawyer and member of the Animal Welfare Board of India, the person who filed the PIL. Mr. Jayasimha, we've had arguments flying back and forth, and at the end of the day, I want to understand what was your thought process behind filing this PIL?
Right. So just to give you a history of this case has been on for over a decade now. It started with the Madurai High Court. The Madurai High Court bench of the Tamil Nadu High Court prohibited Jallikattu. Right after that, there was an act that was brought in by the state government called the Tamil Nadu Jallikattu Regulation Act, and the constitutional validity of that was also challenged. And then this matter finally reached the Supreme Court. When it reached the Supreme Court, what the Supreme Court did was that it said that, okay, let's try and implement the Tamil Nadu Jallikattu Regulation Act, and conducted 2 consecutive Jallikattu events, actually 3 consecutive Jallikattu events under the supervision, asking inspectors as well as the district collectors to file reports as to how it was done. Based on that particular fact, in 2014, Justice Radhakrishnan penned down the judgment in which he said that Jallikattu would be prohibited. In that particular judgment, one of the things that he did say, he put on duty on the Animal Welfare Board of India to be the guardian of the law with relation to animal welfare, because we were a body formed under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. While this was happening, what we saw last year was there was a notification that was brought in by the Ministry of Environment and Forest, which was just an executive order, and that executive order was purely brought in to frustrate the orders of the Supreme Court. And to us, it felt wrong because the Supreme Court had given us the duty to be guardians of the animals, and we moved the Supreme Court immediately saying that no executive order can be brought to frustrate the orders of the Supreme Court, and based on which this particular notification that was brought in by the Ministry of Environment and Forest was stayed. Right after that, the state of Tamil Nadu had also filed a review petition on the earlier Nagaraja judgment, which was given in 2014. And 2 months ago, the Supreme Court, in an elaborate judgment in which it heard the review petition in open court, and it gave all the parties to come and speak, heard this particular matter and said that it did not see any ground for the review to happen. Now, while this is all happening, the law as it stands, according to the Constitution, is that based on the Supreme Court direction, Jallikattu is prohibited. But we are now faced with a unique situation. We have people protesting on the ground, and they have the right to protest as in the Constitution. Then we have a law which has been laid down by the Supreme Court, which has to be implemented. Our primary concern and the problem has been that the executive or certain political parties, just to get some sort of mileage, are trying to frustrate the orders of the court through executive action, which is ultra vires to the Constitution. And within the Constitution itself, there are certain methods to kind of redress this entire system, and I would say that constitutional mechanism has to be done. Because if people on the streets were the pure way to kind of see whether a judgment has to be upheld or not, tomorrow what's probably going to happen is that there are going to be more people on street in Karnataka saying that don't give water to Tamil Nadu, which happens all the time. And that frustrates me even more, because there is an order of the Supreme Court, and if states start ignoring it based on people's sentiment, then you rather just, what's the idea of having this institution which is so supreme and which is the holder of the Constitution?
The point is taken.
which also maintains the basic structure.
The point is taken. The point is taken. You've made your case. It's very clear. If the Supreme Court lays the law of the land, and if we start allowing these things to happen, then what happens? But the problem is that this comes after the Supreme Court order on the Kaveri water, which was not followed, and this again involves Tamil people. We've had a culture which is as old as this country and this continent is, who've been the victim of a Supreme Court order not being followed. And now the Supreme Court wants to lay down the land, and Tamil people will be the first one to start following Supreme Court orders. Mr. Naveen Chomal wanted to say something. I'm going to come to him and then bring it to Mr. Shailesh Gandhi. Mr. Naveen Chomal, quickly make your point.
No, that's what the thing is. I think if you really look at if you look at what Siddaramaiah did, was exactly what Tamil Nadu is doing now, right?
See, in our country, Constitution is supreme, and Supreme Court has to go by the Constitution. But then in several judgments of the Supreme Court also, it has been admitted that ultimately the people of the country are supreme. So here we are facing a very unique situation where Supreme Court judges, where Supreme Court also have held that we are supreme only not because we are supreme, but because there is no appeal against our orders. So ultimately, the people who are supreme, you see the entire class of people in Tamil Nadu is on the street. Means people from different sections of the society crossing the different streams of the society, they are on the street. So ultimately, public is totally aggrieved by the Supreme Court's judgment. So we are facing a very unique situation now in Tamil Nadu. And let me clarify, if there are certain lawyers who are fighting for that cause, that doesn't mean that the cause is genuine. Because we have seen there are certain set of lawyers who have been fighting for wrong cause also, fighting free of cost for that Yaqub Memon also. All right. So ultimately that is not the point of argument.
I'm going to bring this to quickly, Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, please.
It doesn't mean, as in, I don't think the law is based on the lawyers. The law is not based on the lawyers who fight for it. The law finally comes in as to what the Supreme Court
Mr. Shailesh Gandhi and then
at this particular point of time, the Supreme Court has penned down a very reasonable judgment.
I've been listening to this discussion and have yet to understand what is the cruelty part in this Jallikattu. I haven't seen any of the other representatives except stressing that the Supreme Court has ruled like this and therefore it should be done.
Really.
I would submit citizens have a right and a duty
to
discuss every judgment, every action done by government or any of the institutions. And I am yet wondering what is the difference between race courses and horses, dogs and bulls. Nobody has explained this to me. How is it that there is greater cruelty being put on the bulls?
Gentlemen, hold on. Mr. Debi Goenka is going to have a say. Mr. Debi Goenka, please go ahead.
I think the debate is going off in a totally different direction. I think we're discussing the ban on Jallikattu, not how the Supreme Court functions, not how it should be functioning, not how lawyers argue, and so on and so forth.
All right.
As I mentioned earlier, I think there was a 2,500-year-old tradition, maybe even older. Nobody is questioning that tradition. What I mentioned earlier is the same tradition being followed, or has it been corrupted over the past few decades?
All right.
And has the element of cruelty, which was never there earlier, been brought in now?
All right.
That was the issue that I was talking about earlier.
All right. I'm going to stop.
But I also want to add one more point.
Yes, Mr. Goenka, please go ahead.
I think we have to understand that there are traditions all over the world that were okay maybe 2,500 years ago.
But not now.
But not now.
All right.
Slavery was okay 200 years ago. It's not okay today.
All right, gentlemen, on the panel, I'm going to come back to all of you. We have a good half an hour to go before this debate concludes. At this stage, I want to stop this debate and make a couple of pertinent points which we've got over here. Here is the point that I want to make about Jallikattu. One is, I'm going to ask the producer to bring in some of the graphics that we have, some factual data. There has been a serious decline in the population of domestic breed bulls in the state of Tamil Nadu over the years. Take a look at those numbers. Since 2007, cattle numbers have gone down 4%, of which the population of indigenous cattle has gone down by 9%, and indigenous bulls alone have gone down by 19%. Here's even more data to prove this. Now, the population of bulls in Tamil Nadu in 1996 was 5 lakh. Was the number of indigenously bred bulls. I'm talking about breeds like Kangayam, Bargur, etc., etc. By 2013, that number came down to 1.9 lakh. And in 2017, it's lakh or even less than that is what people say. The economics of Jallikattu is that all the pro-Jallikattu activists that they were mentioning, it's part of their family. It's also a sport which runs an economy. And more importantly, with the rise of a European and American breed of bulls and the rearing of that increasing, the bulls, the Indian bulls, the domestic breeds like Kangayam Kalai, the Kangayam Kalai, which is the most famous bull in Tamil Nadu, could be extinct. I'm not sure how many people on the panel are even aware that the domestic breed, and this has specifically happened, the numbers are very representative of the kind of, the shrinking of numbers that has been witnessed since the year 2014, when the Supreme Court instituted the ban on Jallikattu. It's a sport, and it's also economics behind it. So we're talking about our very own Kangayam Kalai becoming our very own Kangayam Kalai, I mean as India's Kangayam Kalai and Tamil Nadu's Kangayam Bull becoming extinct. So there is a question of economics when it comes to Jallikattu. And apart from that, there is a question of caste. I'm going to get to the question of caste also, because many people view Jallikattu as the upper caste, landowning caste in Tamil Nadu, establishing their superiority over the lower castes and the Dalits. Nobody in Tamil Nadu will deny with the fact that Jallikattu is invariably run by the upper castes in all villages. And that means for the longest time, Dalits were not even allowed to take part in it, or not even allowed to stand around. They were given a separate place and not allowed to rear bulls. They're not allowed to partake in that sport in any which way, which has changed over the years. But remember, history says that when a Dalit man finally won Jallikattu, he was murdered. There was, for even playing Ambedkar songs on the day Jallikattu is being conducted, Dalits have been persecuted in this country. There are two very important points that I want to get the responses from our panelists over here. And as Debi Goenka rightly mentioned, this discussion has gone really off track about the workings of how Supreme Court orders function and what people need to do, and etc., etc. We're talking about something else very different. There is a cost question, and more importantly, there is an economics question. Mr. Rajashekaran, I'm going to start with you. I'm sure you're happy with the fact that these 2 points have been brought to the fore in an English national television news channel. I want to understand, where do you stand on these two issues that I've just pointed out? First, answer the fact that I'm sure you're in agreement with the fact that the domestic breeds of bulls are under serious threat.
See, I have been categorically saying the same point in all your national TVs for the past 1 week, that there is a huge conspiracy being hatched by the vested interest, that is the PETA, PFA, all these people funded by the multinationals, and they want to bring in their own Jersey cows and these foreign cows into the Indian market. That is the whole idea. But we are #1 in beef export. See, we should understand, you allow beef to be exported and you kill the native breed. What is this? See, the irony of the native breeds are being killed for the sake of export, and you bring in the foreign company to bring their Jersey and other breeds into the Indian soil, which is very wrong. And we are not going to allow this. We are going to protest.
All right, point taken. Mr. Nikunj Sharma of PETA wants to come in. Mr. Nikunj Sharma, please go ahead first.
Can I make a point while he comes?
Mr. Nikunj Sharma,
I would like to counter that argument that I've just said. Yeah, I would like to counter that argument which sir has just made about, we want that PETA and the multinationals want the native breeds to decimate, and just to bring our own so-called Jersey cows and hybrid cows to India for milk production. I mean, I just want to tell sir that PETA is an organization which promotes a vegan lifestyle. We are against milk. We ask people not to have milk because there are cruelties involved in milk production. So isn't that a bizarre argument that PETA on one hand saying that they are asking people not to have milk, on the other hand they would establish their own milk production company? That's one of the most bizarre arguments that I've seen. I would like to also respond to the native breed argument which has been raised on this platform. 1997 to 2003, the livestock census of Tamil Nadu says that the native breeds are decimating owing to changing farm practices, which means that farmers are changing their farm practices. They are bringing hybrid cattle for milk production, for more milk produce, which is way before the Jallikattu ban happened in 2014. Similarly, in 2006, the Tamil Nadu Veterinary University, which is a government university, held a seminar and categorically said in the seminar that the native breeds are decimating owing to changing farm practices. They reiterated that fact, which was way before 2014 Supreme Court of India's ban on Jallikattu. So Jallikattu has got nothing to do with decimating native breeds.
All right, Nikunj,
how is it?
All right, you made your point. It's not because of anything else, but because of changing farm practices. All right, I'm going to ask Mr. Jayasimha, the person who filed this PIL, did you even keep all of this under consideration as part of your PIL, the fate of native breeds of bulls in the state of Tamil Nadu?
we've actually filed a separate set of PILs just on the fate of native bulls. As a matter of fact, I feel that the inclusion of HF and other breeds brought into this country is actually very, very, very cruel. As a matter of fact, the state of Tamil Nadu few years ago was gifting away these crossbreed animals to farmers, and farmers didn't have feed to take care of them, and they were actually dying. So I feel, and in fact, we filed multiple cases in the Supreme Court, and as we speak, we are arguing a particular case against the government of India's policy of importing HF.
I'm going to quickly take this to. I'm going to take this to quickly to.
So I definitely do agree that.
All right, you
come
definitely
on,
agree.
You have to let me answer. You have to let me answer.
All right,
you
please
ask me
go
a
ahead,
question.
sir.
You got to let me answer.
Please go ahead, sir.
All I'm saying is that.
Krishna Kumar, I want to rebut this. I want to rebut this.
Mr. Rajashekaran will come back to you.
I do not for a minute. I don't want.
Mr. Jayasimha, please finish your argument. Please go ahead. Please, all the gentlemen on the panel, please wait.
The native breeds are adapted. Yes. Yes. Right. The native breeds are most adapted to Indian conditions, and they probably are the best to be bred, and they need to be continued. As I said, it is this whole intensive animal farming and our thirst for milk and making our country one of the largest producers of milk, which has pushed away the native cattle, and we are importing semen, we are importing all of these animals into the country only to improve milk production. And I don't think that there is any scientific argument to link prohibition of Jallikattu to it. Overall, yes, we need to relook into our food production system, and we need to end this intensive animal agriculture. And it's not only with relation to bulls. You see indigenous poultry, you see indigenous sheep and goats, all being extinct because
point taken. There is no scientific reason to connect this to that. Rahul, Easwar, I'm sure you want to have your say on this. I'm going to come to Mr. Sridhar Pabbisetty and Debi Goenka after that. But Rahul, Easwar, please go first.
Just one humble request. I'm a right-winger. Don't listen to me. Listen to a known atheistic left liberal, Kamala Hassan, who went on record to say, if you want to ban Jallikattu, then ban biryani first. Can we have double standards in this nation? Can we have cow, when there is millions of cows being slaughtered, nobody has a problem. When there is an issue about animal slaughter on Eid, nobody has a problem. Supreme Court back on September 16, 2016 says we cannot look into the issue. You go and approach a high court. Why is only one culture and one community being targeted? If people are starting to ask and they are standing up against double standards, it is people's right. We should be sensitive. India is a land of great cultural diversity. You cannot have a monolithic culture imposed on us by an outside agency like PETA. And PETA should stop these kind of animal policing. We Indians love our cow, our bull, our horse, and we need not have $1 billion agency to lecture us on everything. We accept Supreme Court and any regulation given to us by Supreme Court, but that shouldn't be a categorical ban. Supreme Court should be more sensitive when they are doing such issues.
All right, Mr. Sridhar Pabbisetty, please go ahead. You've been waiting to have your turn for the longest time. Please go ahead, sir.
Tell me, sir.
Yeah.
Krishna Kumar,
see, very quickly, we need to take a difference. We need to make a difference between correlation and causation, right?
Okay.
It may be so that the numbers have reduced and the Jallikattu ban was there, but it need not imply one to the other. What's very important for us is to understand.
Absolutely.
Did Tamil people stop loving the native breeds because Jallikattu was banned? That is not right. So we have to understand, and we have to take these numbers with a pinch of salt.
Okay.
Secondly, we are in a reality today. If there are caste conflicts, the constitution looks each of us equal. On this debate, you are not allocating time for us to speak based on which caste we belong to.
True.
Similarly, our constitution guarantees us saying that, caste cannot be basis of discrimination. So caste is a reality. It's also animals have rights. And how should cruelty against animals have to be imbibed in all walks of life also has to be taken into consideration. So let's look at this in a holistic manner, and I urge all Tamil friends to work with their elected representatives and make sure that the right legislation falls into place. It's important that we understand to work with the legislative processes and the constitutional processes. Otherwise, we will not be benefiting in any which way by being into no man's land. So it's important that we prevent traditions with right amount of modernization and relevance to today's practices.
All right, Mr. Rajashekaran, I'm going to come to you in just a bit. I'm going to have Mr. Debi Goenka have his say. Mr. Debi Goenka, please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to make 3 points very quickly.
Okay.
One is that the native bull population in Tamil Nadu is not linked to the ban on Jallikattu.
Okay.
The figures have reduced drastically despite the ban only being 2 years old. That's point number one. Second thing is this extinction of local species applies across the board to animals in all over India. Not only animals, but even plant life in India is threatened because of contamination, crossbreeding, hybridization, and so on and so forth. And that's something that we do not encourage and we would not propagate.
All right.
The third point I want to make is the issue of animal rights. I mean, the Constitution has been made by the people of India for the people of India. It is actually quite silent on the rights of the other animals and living beings that inhabit our country. I think it's high time that people in India started taking note that these creatures also have rights. They don't have a voice. They can't go to courts. There are organizations who do this on behalf of animals. And I don't think we should be overly critical of an organization that is trying to propagate and safeguard animal rights. I think this is also part of culture and tradition, which needs to evolve further.
All right, I'm going to bring this back to Mr. Rajashekaran. Quickly, Mr. Naveen Chomal, quickly have your say. Mr. Naveen Chomal, please quickly have your say.
I just want to ask one question. What happens to the rights of these animals on the day of Eid when their butchering is exponential and in the most cruel, halal manner?
All right.
My question is, what are you doing about it?
Yes, we are opposing it. But you people have got all the sources to approach Supreme Court. You are a well-organized body who's trying to dominate poor farmers who don't have voice in the Supreme Court.
All right.
So ultimately now today the situation is Supreme Court is one side and the entire sentiment of the nation is on the other side.
All right, Mr. Rajashekaran, please come in on this right now.
Krishna Kumar, see, we are in a democratic system of governance. India is a democracy. And any institution lives up to the expectations of the people's will and wish. See, anything if you go against the majority opinion of the people, definitely it is wrong. Even the Honorable Supreme Court, which is the apex court of this country, which has all powers with them, they should consider on merits, and they also should look upon to the sentiments and emotions of the majority people. I am not saying the Supreme Court is wrong always. Supreme Court has given many best judgments in the past and definitely present and definitely in the future. We have the best judges like Mr. V.R. Krishna here and all these people as judges. See, I wouldn't blame the Supreme Court. It is only the competency of the then central government and the state government. Incompetent lawyers and the incompetent government officials had made this issue Jallikattu such a big failure in the state of Tamil Nadu in the last 3-4 years. Because if you had appointed the right lawyers and you had engaged the right lawyers to plead before the Honorable Supreme Court, definitely I'm a positive Tamilian. I always
That's a
have
fair
the
point.
feeling that
That's a fair point. That's something that's been bandied about in the state of Tamil Nadu as well. The representation that the pro-Jallikattu team got at the Supreme Court was not good enough because I'm giving you the word from the street, what Tamil people in the street are saying. They're saying that they just went up to the Supreme Court and said, this is our Tamil pride, our Tamil culture, and you need to let this through. And the Supreme Court said, no way, Jose, because you are creating cruelty to animals. Whereas the question of cruelty has not been proven sufficiently yet. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, you wanted to comment on that?
Absolutely.
The PETA representative mentioned that they are against the consumption of milk, and that's also a kind of cruelty to calves. So are we looking for a milk ban and maybe a ban on non-vegetarian food is the question I want to pose, and I do not think an animal being butchered is doing it with glee.
Exactly.
Why is Jallikattu such a big issue is something which I am completely failing to understand, and I wish the gentleman would tell us, are they next going to look for a ban on milk and on non-vegetarian food?
Mr. Nikunj Sharma, your turn.
We are totally in favor of beef ban. First thing first, I would just like to tell you.
So are you propagating
and also,
milk ban?
As far as other meat is concerned, we are working with the government of India to implement the existing laws. I'm sorry?
What are you doing about it?
That's exactly what I'm just coming to. Let me complete.
Or say 10 days prior to Eid.
Mr. Chomal, let Mr. Nikunj Sharma, please
I'm coming to it, sir. You have to let me complete.
I am fully for ban of PETA in India.
Yeah,
I'm saying that we are totally... PETA should be banned in India. I am for it.
Exactly.
All right. This is not... Let's not get personal. There's no vitriol over here.
See, we are a democratic organization,
and if you think,
ban anybody. And if you think that an organization which is working, and I think if you think that an organization or any democratic organization or civil society organization needs to be banned for the work that they are doing.
I want Mr. Nikunj Sharma to have his say. We are not passing judgments over here. We're only debating, and everybody deserves to have their say. Mr. Nikunj Sharma, I'm really sorry for you being interrupted so many times. Please go ahead and make your point.
See, I'm saying that the demand of PETA being banned is only being made just because we are raising the voice of the voiceless animals? And if that's our fault, we are ready to face consequences. Because all we did was to produce facts in front of the court with other petitioner, other animal welfare organization, the Animal Welfare Board of India. And if people think that that's a fault for an animal rights organization to fight for the rights of animals, I think we are at fault. And we are ready to face consequences for that. But one thing that I would like to make clear here to this panel is that banning PETA will not suppress the voice of animals. If not PETA, then there will be some other animal. There are individual level animal lovers who would work for animals, who would die for animals, and who would do everything to uphold the rights of animals in our constitution.
All right, Mr. Jayasimha, I want you to have your say right now.
Right. On the beef ban issue, I think it's interesting to note that there is equal opposition for this as well, right? As in, whenever animal rights activists have spoken about beef ban, it said, oh, cow vigilantism, you should stop it, put them behind bars. And the Prime Minister goes ahead and make a statement. So we are on the receiving end on both sides, right? You protect, then you get on the receiving end, you don't do anything, then you're on the receiving end. However, the Himachal High Court has now passed an order and it's directed the state of Union of India to now prohibit cow slaughter across. And we are now actually working with various states to get the number of critical mass approval, because it's on the concurrent list, to get a nationwide ban, because now there's a court order that requests for beef ban. The irony really is that you ask for a beef ban, then you say, oh, you're a right wing. You ask for something, then you say, okay, we don't want a beef ban, then you say, oh, what are you doing about beef ban? You do something to rescue animals, then you say, oh, you're a cow vigilantist. So it almost seems like if you speak up for somebody who can't speak up, then you are in the receiving end by somebody or the other.
See, there is...
Mr. Chomal, please hold on. Mr. Jayasimha, please finish your point.
Yeah, sure.
See, please let me comment.
And so all I'm again trying to say is, and which I started off with my thing, saying that there is a constitutional process, and in that, but let's use that particular constitutional process, and whatever is the outcome that comes out of the constitutional process is something that we should all accept, and that's basically what I have to say.
All right, Mr. Naveen Chomal, your turn.
See, there is definitely much more than what meets the eye, and when they oppose, say, Jallikattu, they oppose it with full might, tooth and nail. But when it comes to beef ban, they are not opposing it very sincerely. They just make some vague statements. When it comes to Eid, they don't oppose it very sincerely. That is the hypocrisy of the PETA people. So they are bringing discredit to the entire cause. Nobody trusts PETA people today.
And I have come into this same TV program wherein I am defending people who are rescuing. As we speak, we've got 80 camels in the border of Bangladesh who are being smuggled, and we are trying to get them released and sent back to Sirohi, where we run our shelter. As we speak today, yesterday night, we rescued some amount of buffalo calves as well as cows who were going to Ghazipur to be slaughtered. And today we were in court, and before coming here, I was in the trial court trying to get the custody of these animals to a particular Goshala. To somehow to make it seem that we are not doing something with others is completely wrong. That we're trying really hard. That's just that issue that some issues get attention, and when it gets attention, it gets traction. Today when we are speaking about 80 camels who are stranded on the border of Bangladesh, who've been smuggled all the way from Rajasthan to be smuggled into Bangladesh to be slaughtered, and we are at that particular point of time, the Malda district collector says that you're anti-Muslim. We are anti-everything because somebody or the other abuses these animals.
This is creating publicity for PETA using such a channel. Please stick to the topic, and please don't paint us animal haters. We are also animal lovers. We may differ in our opinion. Please don't make it seem that you are the only animal lover in the world.
I am only responding to the point. I am only responding to the queries which said that what are you doing? What are you doing is the question that everybody asked. I am just trying to respond as to what we are doing. And all I'm trying to make you understand is this dichotomy, right? You try and speak up for beef ban, then you say that you're a right-wing activist. You try and rescue camels, then you become anti-Muslim. You speak up against Bakri, then you become anti-minorities. You speak up against animal sacrifice in Uttarakhand, which we did, then you become anti-Hindu. You speak up against Jallikattu, then you become anti-Hindu. But the fact is that because animals don't don't have their own agency. When you speak up on behalf of animals, you become anti-somebody. And that's something that we have learned the very hard way. Because just 6 months ago, we were on this same channel where everybody was accusing, saying that you are anti-Muslim, you are anti-Muslim.
Jallikattu is a harvest festival.
Nobody can understand anything because all of us are screaming at the top of our voice. With this, there can be no clarity. The whole point of doing this debate is that people hear us out.
No, Pongal is not a Hindu festival. It was a harvest festival. That's what I want to say. Don't give a Hindu color to it. It is a harvest festival.
It's a civilizational festival of the Tamil people, which is interconnected to Indian civilization. And these people have an agenda of destabilizing.
Don't paint everything with the same brush. Bakrid, Muslim, what is this? Or everything you bring caste and community.
Gentlemen,
that is the problem with all these activists.
Us talking together means that nobody understands anything. This is exactly what we don't like on television these days. When you have 8 men, screaming at each other. I'm going to go take this to Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, who's yet to have a say in a while. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, we've had this debated, in all possible angles. I want to understand what is the way forward when it comes to Jallikattu. What do you think can be done right now?
I'm hoping that the Supreme Court will use its wisdom and not go ahead with this ban and withdraw the ban. I genuinely believe there are lots of cultural issues which are not in the domain of the courts. Yes, traditions can be changed. I'm not disputing that. The sati must be changed and therefore has been changed. But even today, I have been struggling to understand what is this great cruelty to bulls in Jallikattu compared to anything else.
All right.
Which nobody is answering, unfortunately. And then, of course, we should then, if we go down this road, either we follow a logic and say we should ban milk, we should ban non-vegetarianism, and we should ban lots of other things. Then I would understand and say, okay, all animals are equal, therefore let's ban these things.
All right, that's a fair point Shailesh Gandhi is making, somewhat similar to what one of Tamil Nadu's most famous actors, the legendary Kamal Haasan made. If you want to ban Jallikattu, then you will have to ban biryani as well. That was such a simple statement. It has many ramifications, and Mr. Shailesh Gandhi probably puts it up. So the jury is certainly out there. But at the end of...
I have a point to make on Kamal Haasan Singh. I've been a vegetarian all my life. I've been a vegan for the past several years, and I enjoy my biryani. So what has the ban on biryani got to do with Jallikattu?
No.
As a vegetarian, I can't eat biryani?
No,
I think this is going...
Non-veg biryani where
exactly.
animals are
if cruelty to animals is
cruel manner.
If cruelty to animals is the main argument against Jallikattu, there are many ways in which we do cruelty to animals in this country. Can we ban all of it? On that introspective note, I'm going to wrap this particular edition of the Urban Debate. Thank you, all of you gentlemen, for taking time out to be with us over here on the Urban Debate on Magicbricks Now. You can also, of course, write into us and express your views, and we'll be only glad to hear them. And with that, it's a wrap here on the show. This is Krishna Kumar signing off. Good night.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.